is a fun Friday, and I am super excited about today's topic, and I hope you take every bit of what we're going to talk about today and you create your own adventure and stories and laughter and enjoyment, even when things do not work out the way that you planned.
We always love bringing new ideas and everything, and so we toss around, okay, well, what can we talk about? What's a fun Friday topic, something that we could share with all the B fam out there, and something that they could take that could just change their family and that they can have some awesome, fun experiences. So we're tossing around all these ideas, and when we toss around this one, she can't help but laugh. She's just right when she said it, she giggled, and I'm like, oh my God. And I brought it up later. I said, all right, now's the time to do this one. And she's like, and I'm like, all right, you're like a kid again.
I was so excited I started this episode, which I don't normally.
She did. She was so excited. She jumped right in and just stole the rug.
So the thing that we're talking about is primitive camping.
Primitive camping.
And if you don't know what primitive camping is,
you're about to find out.
Don't worry, because we didn't know this word exactly until we found ourselves
doing it.
we were like thrown into primitive camping. We didn't plan on primitive camping.
We didn't quite understand what it was, but we found out really quick. And so, yeah, but we had a blast. And we think that, if you don't know about this, and even if you do, we're going to kind of share what that looks like and how you could use it in your family in a really cool way that will bring you closer together.
And maybe give you some tips and pointers so that you maybe don't go through the same stuff we did and it's a more successful adventure.
Yeah, but we have a story to tell. So yeah, we'll be right back in just a minute. Primitive camping.
All right.
Primitive camping.
So what happened was Randall came in one day after Christmas, and he was fixing to start a new job and outside of the home. And he said, you know what? I think we need a weekend getaway. And Randall says stuff like that. And I've learned over the last 15 years that if I don't act quickly, he's going to change his mind. If I give him time to look at the budget and really think things through, he's going to change his mind. So we had one weekend available, which was the next weekend. And I said, let's do this. So I hurried and got online without asking
consulting
him
or anything.
Necessarily.
She just grabbed it and ran.
With it.
It was like baton here, gone.
Well, and he was thinking like, let's get an Airbnb or something out somewhere. And I started thinking, we could get more bang for our buck if we tent camp. So we could go, we've been planning RV life. That had been something that we have been talking about, and going out into these national parks and stuff. So we've talked about that a lot, but not necessarily tent camping. But we have a tent. And so I said, let's get a spot. You can get it for a lot cheaper. We can stay for a couple of days and just get more bang for our buck. So I found a spot, and I was so excited. I found a spot that was away from everybody else. I didn't want something that was like by a busy road. And I was like, oh, this is going to be so great. Can I tell them my reasoning behind it?
Well, sure. Little ears may not need to hear.
If you have children in the car, they may need to take a break.
Or you may need to pause and come back later because it's juicy, guys.
Yes, it's juicy. So I've had this fantasy, this vision of us making love under the stars in a tent. And I have been trying to plan this for many, many anniversaries. But the problem is, our anniversary is in August, and we live in Texas, and it's really hot. So anytime that I have taken the initiative and got us a campsite, Randall talks some sense into me, and we cancel it, and we do something different. So that's happened a handful of times.
100-degree weather, trying to sleep at night. Just not,
Especially if you're trying to have sexy time.
Sexy time.
So in my vision, this is what I wanted. Now it's going to be like 40 something degree weather because it's January, and I never think about camping in January, but I thought, hey, this is perfect. Now it's not going to be too hot. We can experience this moment together.
It's going to happen.
So I wanted to pick a camping spot that was secluded away from everybody else. I was even okay that it didn't have a bathroom right near it because I was like, you know what? It's worth it to walk to the bathroom.
Yes. So she, I tell her that was late one night, and I think I was, sometimes she'll be in the living room on the computer still kind of working, and I'm winding down, so I'm in the bedroom, got the TV on. I think I was coming to get me a drink or something, and I just kind of impassioned said, hey, yeah, we should get away a weekend. I was thinking about that before I start working. Then I go back and watching my TV show or whatever and not thinking anything else of that. And then I think it was the next day you go, I booked us a thing.
Yes.
And it's primitive camping. We're going to camp. And I'm like, okay, that sounds cool. We're going to do a tent. And,
I didn't really understand what primitive means. And I had a couple options on picking a campsite. So I picked the one that, like I said, was secluded, and primitive was a word that was attached to it. And it wasn't going to have electricity or water, which I was okay with because we could make it work with some other things. So I was not too worried about
we're
that.
thinking, okay, well, that's cool. We can bring everything we need. We'll have the truck right there with us, and, we'll be fine. So we're preparing for this now. She's telling me, and I'm like, okay, that could work. Okay, cool.
He was pretty excited about it too.
I'm like, all right, because I love camping. And then, we're kind of looking at the weather going, it's going to be a little chilly at night. But, we've camped, we've done some youth camps and stuff in Colorado before. And it's like 30 degrees at night. And it's like,
and
okay,
you just have to cuddle and,
Okay, yeah, we'll make this
cozy.
We'll make this work. It'd be really fun. And she picked a place that was really far. I was a little hesitant at first going, babe, that's a little far.
But it's because I had went away to a women's retreat at a place near it. That's why I picked where I picked, because it was somewhat in the location where I had saw the most beautiful stars I have ever seen. The sky was just, every inch was filled. You could see the Milky Way. You could see the constellations. And if you're going to make love under the stars, you need a lot of stars.
Sexy time is, it's important. And, all these things have to line up. Mini stars, tent camping, cold. I mean, you got to have check boxes.
All the stuff.
Check box. So we're sitting there going, okay, well, cool. We'll make this work. Even though it's far, it was like 5 hours away, a 5-hour drive. I wasn't looking too forward to that, but
and I had to work that morning.
I was like, you know what? I'm just going to take it for what it is, and I'm going to enjoy the moment, something that we talk about all the time. So we're going to make it work, and it's going to be fine. So
and I had asked on Facebook, asked people about primitive camping. What are some must-have items? And man, my Facebook friends came through.
Oh, we got flooded. So we got water jugs, 5-gallon water jugs.
This really cool thing that has a straw in it, but it's powered.
And you just hit a button and it spouts your water out like a water fountain. And then I started thinking later, once we were actually there, I'm like, why didn't we just get a water jug that already has the spout and everything?
The igloos.
The igloos. I was like, wait a minute. But it is a really cool contraption. So we went above him. I think we spent a lot more money than we intended. And then we're going to do an air mattress so that we're comfortable. But, oh, wait, we don't have power. So we need to get power. How are we going to do that? Oh, they make a device that connects to your car battery and gives you 120 volts there. So now we can blow up our air mattress and have comfort. And so, we're buying all these things. And then we set our tent out in the living room just because we hadn't busted it out in quite some time. Well, come to find out, she'd used it for her preschool and a lot of other things. So it was not in the best of conditions. And then our air mattress it took up every inch of space in it, and it's
filled it up about halfway.
Okay, so that's not gonna work, babe. We need a new tent. So we got a new, bigger tent that the air mattress will fit in and give us a little
really
room.
good deal for that tent.
And we did. So yeah, where we were trying to save for primitive camping, and then we ended up buying a whole bunch of other stuff.
Investment, though, it was.
Yeah, because this is something that we plan to do a lot more in the future because we do enjoy it. So
but it did take quite a bit of time to pack up all the things.
And we were loaded. Like, we were loaded down. Like, you couldn't fit anything else in the truck. And we're like, okay, here we are, some city folk going to try to rough it in the country, but we ain't really roughing it, guys. So, we're trying to take our luxury when we're trying to be primitive. It's just kind of, contradicting a little bit. So we're laughing at it. But so anyways, so
we leave.
We learned some stuff. Because
when we set out about noon and we were going 5 hours, but we also had some errands to run before we left.
We had to make sure we got that power thing because we needed power from the truck to blow up our air mattress.
Yes.
So, all this is playing into the learning. So we did all that. And
by the time we get there, it is pitch dark, black. And
don't have a clue where we're going. We got
cell service is super, super limited.
Yeah, which is a good thing. You want that. But when you're trying to find your place. So we're getting in there and we've got like this makeshift map that I had downloaded onto my phone. And we pull up into this really dark place. Nobody's there. And we pull up to the... the office, and everything's locked down, just one little dim light there. Nobody's around. It's like, well, dang, all right. So we're trying to map it out, and we're driving down this one road that we thought was the right road and ends up not being that. And then we turn back around, and then we discover, okay, oh, no, that wasn't the road. Now we need to be on this road. And so we go down that, and then we pass where we were supposed to be because we're like, well, we didn't see anything.
It didn't make sense because there was no way to drive the truck to the spot. There was just a big parking spot that was empty.
So we're like, that doesn't make sense. So we drive down a long ways and dead end, and it's like, okay, well, no, maybe that was a spot. So so this is, hence now it's almost 11 o'clock at night, completely dark. We're somewhat lost.
It was not almost 11. It was like 8, but it just felt like 11 o'clock.
Okay, well, it felt really late.
So dark.
So we finally find the parking spot, and it's a big parking spot, and it's got the campsite numbers, and we had our number.
Yeah.
And they all said reserved on it, and we're like, oh, what does this mean? And we're looking for roads you can drive on to get to these campsites, and we didn't see them.
If they were reserved, where are all the other cars? And so that's where it was really stumping us. Like, did they drive to their spot? But we couldn't find where to drive.
Because there were like barricades. You couldn't get onto the roads. And finally we started talking. We're like, can you drive to these spots? Can you take your truck there? Or are we supposed
do we have to
walk?
And I'm like... This memory of sitting on the couch, picking our spot, and it being called a walk-in site now started to come back to me. But I didn't want to admit that it did say walk-in.
And I was clueless to it.
And he doesn't do well in these unfamiliar, unknown territories.
No.
But we had bought these really cool lanterns.
So we're like, all right, well, we see like this walking path, and let's grab the lanterns and we'll just start walking. So we start walking a little ways, and then we get to like this dried out riverbed, and it's like, what in the world? And
yeah, because we're like, well, you can't go beyond this because what if the water comes? You wouldn't be able to walk, and what happened?
And so here we are, don't know the area, 5 hours away from the house. We're in the middle of the woods now because we have now walked down a path. We don't see anyone, don't hear anybody, and we're like, what in the world? I don't know what we're supposed to do.
Well, then we did hear something in the woods. And
we started hearing rustling.
Oh, crap.
And So finally, I had to make the man decision. I was like, okay, babe, this is unsafe. We are in unfamiliar territory. I don't know where we're going. We're in the middle of the woods with a lantern with no one else around. Spots say reserved. If we were to walk up on someone's campsite in the middle of the night, I would only imagine how I would feel about that if that was me that someone else walked up on. So this could be really dangerous, especially if people have guns and stuff. This is Texas and stuff. So,
and all this, the sign did say reserved on all of the spots. So we thought, well, surely people are out there somewhere, but why can't we see campfires? It's only like 8:00 at night.
And so we were done. I'm like, okay, this is unsafe. I don't know what's rustling in the woods. I don't think the bears are out here. I know there are mountain lions and things like that to deal with. Just not good. There could be some prey sitting there going, ha, 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 ha.
And we won't
I have something really exciting. Look at these guys.
We won't get too far off on this, but we'll mention that it was Thursday the 12th, which meant at midnight, it was going to turn into Friday the 13th.
Yeah, that is true.
And if you know anything about Friday the 13th,
that's when Jason comes out.
He comes out, and this just painted the picture and it's the couple that's making love in the woods that are the first to go.
They're the first ones to die. So, this was not a good situation. So anyways, we had to make a decision. And so we will tell you that here in just a minute, what we did. We'll be right back. It's time to have some more blended family fun. Yeah, are you ready?
What was that?
I've been really working on this song. What do you think?
Sure. It's great, babe.
Well, it goes along with how to enjoy your blended family. The 5 dates to discover fun in your step family. The greatest thing since sliced bread for blended families.
Okay, I get it now. I feel your excitement. Well, why don't you tell them about it instead of singing it to them?
Wow. Okay, shut me down. Why don't you? All right, let me try. When you have more fun together, you see less blended family drama. But we can get so caught up in life and problems that we miss out on really enjoying our family. So we'll walk you through 5 dates where you'll discover more fun your family loves and have a great plan to keep it going. How's that?
Pretty good. Short and sweet. I know that got them way more excited about all the fun possibilities they can experience with their family than your song did.
What? Seriously?
Well, you could have also told them that it not only creates more fun in their whole family doing this, but it also adds more fun in their marriage and gives them new ways to connect with their kids individually. It's also great for building that step-parent relationship. You could have said all that too.
I don't think you really appreciated all the work that I put in on that song.
Anyways, How to Enjoy Your Blended Family, 5 Dates to Discover Fun in Your Step Family is available for you today. Discover more fun and you'll see less problems. The link to get started is in the show notes of this episode.
Have more fun with your blended family and go on these 5 dates today. You'll be so glad you did. Yeah, yeah.
Really? You had to go there again. Let's get back to this episode.
So here we are, lost in the woods and don't know where we go, don't know the campsite. We're just figuring out, we're piecing together what primitive camping actually means. It means that you cannot drive your vehicle there, but that you have to hike. And so we're like, okay, not good, not safe, hearing rustling in the wind. Let's go. Let's get out of here.
So we have no cell service, so we have to drive all the way back out. And then we go and find a hotel to stay in.
I told her, I said, she's like, what are we going to do? And I said, well, we can't find the campsite. We messed up by getting here at dark. We can't figure out where we're supposed to go unless we're wandering around in the woods, which is not a good idea because we don't know the territory, don't know what's out there. I said, let's get a hotel for tonight, and then we'll figure out what we're going to do in the morning.
And in this episode, we're not necessarily telling you tip 1, tip 2, tip 3. You figure those tips out while we're telling the story.
This was just our experience. But so that night, I know you were really upset because you thought you blew it.
Yeah,
and you were kind of beating yourself up.
Was beating myself up. I felt like I ruined this opportunity for us to have this weekend together.
So we I saw that disappointment in you, and so I wanted to turn that around and be that encouragement. And so I was like, babe, no, it's gonna be all right. We ended up staying in a nice hotel, and it worked out. They
upgraded us to like a king suite.
Yeah, so I mean, it worked, and we got some food, and we were all right. We did good, but I told her, I said, well, you know what? Let's tomorrow morning. Because we're talking, well, if that's primitive camping, I don't know if we want to haul all of this stuff because we brought firewood, y'all. We brought everything. Firewood, yeah. Because they didn't supply firewood. You had to bring your own. I'm like, if we got to walk all that to a campsite, I just don't know if we want to do that. And so we were really toying around with that. But it's like
we spent all of our money on our camping goods and our food.
So we sat there and said, you know what?
And now our expensive hotel.
Let's just wake up early in the morning. Let's drive back out to the campsite, talk to the people in the office, and get a feel for it. Maybe we'll go check it out. Maybe we'll decide, hey, yeah, let's do this. And that's what we did. We got there the next morning and talked to them, and they said that actually our site is one of the most isolated sites, and that's a really great one, but you do have to hike about 75 yards to get to it. Mm-hmm. And we're like, oh, okay.
I don't even know how far that is.
So it's like, all right. So we decided, let's go check it out. Let's go see what it's about. And so we did. And sure enough, we were actually on the right path that night before. We just didn't know. But had we gone a little further, we would have started seeing signs, and it would have made a little more sense to us. And we learned that the reserve signs just meant that they just kept them as reserved. Nobody was there that night. So we actually had the whole thing to ourselves.
Yeah, they just like to keep them on reserve most of the time.
Yeah.
And we learned a lot of tips. Like, even if we would have showed up, they have certain spots, like they taught us.
They had a map.
And they have a place where you can go and see, okay, like no one's staying here in this one tonight, so I'm just going to go ahead and camp in this little area. But what's funny, rewind just a little bit, that next morning when we were leaving, we got a free continental breakfast. We got Texas-shaped waffles. Like, it was really nice, but we were getting on the road again. And the problem was, too, we were now staying with our car cram-packed with all of this stuff, which is not always the safest way to do things at hotels. But we get on the road, and there was road work, and Randall is just... He's up here kind of done with the road work because the sun was shining in bright. He couldn't figure out exactly where to turn.
Well, you had to drive like 2 miles to do a turnaround where we were. And then whenever you got back to because we were just trying to go just a hop, skip over, but you couldn't do that. You had to drive 2 miles backwards to go forwards. But then whenever you got back to that spot now in the right way, they had construction work there with no signs, and it actually took us back around to where I would have had to do it again. And I'm like, this is stupid.
And it reminded me in the moment as we had unfolded all the experience from the night before, the unfamiliar territory, walking into something that we didn't know what to expect and thinking it was going to be one way, and then the disappointment of thinking I blew it. All of these things, I just started telling him how this is such a step family, a blended family analogy. I'm like, I could just see this just really being such a great example of what it's like in a step family, and you're trying to maneuver this path that you have never experienced before. And he just starts telling, like, shutting me down.
I'm like, I don't want to hear that right now, babe.
I said, and that's exactly like what happens in a step family, where one person's frustrated and they want to handle it one way, and then they don't want to hear it. And he's like, quit it with the analogies.
I'm just trying to get through this stupid road work.
And so then the whole rest of the way, which is like a good, like, I don't know, 30, 40 minutes in my head as we're driving, Oh, I was like distraught, sitting there in silence, staring out the window, trying to like hold it all in because our whole trip has now been ruined. And so then I finally get to a place like I want the radio on because that's how I deal with the pressures like that. I like to drown it out with sound, but I didn't want Randall to become frustrated because he was trying to drive, and I didn't want to like stir him and make it worse. And so I finally get to a point of saying something about music, and he's like, I'm fine now. I just needed to get through the traffic. And I'm over here in my head like, we're doomed. He's like, no, I'm cool. I'm cool. I just think you could have put the music on a long time ago.
I just don't like stupid traffic and road work.
So there were so many good, as we continue this story, you pull out those step family analogies on what that looks like, because we get there. The lady, as I'm explaining to her, like the place that I picked for our site, she's like, oh, you got the best one. Because we were thinking, should we change sites? Should we go to somewhere that's closer that we can pull the truck up? And she's like, oh, no, you picked the best site in the whole place. And I was like, oh, yeah, I did. But now that do we track past everybody else carrying our air mattress on our shoulders?
Now we can't blow up our air mattress except for at the truck and then haul it 75 yards. So, yeah, all these things that we bought that were like, oh, this will be great. And all the firewood we brought, it's like, now we got to tote it all. And so anyways, we ended up going to the campsite to go check it out. And we're like, this is actually really cool. This is a cool spot. And it was right, like our campsite was under some trees, which was cool. But then right beside it was a big open pasture. And we were like, this would be beautiful to bring out a blanket and just look up at the stars. This is a perfect spot for that.
And make love.
So, we were like, man, this is awesome. So, okay, yeah, let's do this. The funny thing is we didn't use half the stuff we brought. And so we really learned a lot. It's like, primitive means primitive. Bring less. Less is more. And we ended up bringing, just the little bit that we needed. We had an amazing time. We went, got our campsite, got our tent set up, and then we ended up hiking the rest of the day because they had all kinds of cool trails to hike. And we just hiked the whole day and made sure that we got back before it got dark.
Yes.
And then we got a fire going, started doing our dinner over an open fire. And it was
so
good.
Delicious.
Oh,
I mean, we just
man.
bought like a big hunk of meat that they had. We wrapped it in foil. It was at Aldi. They have like the seasoned meat already. It's like $5. I mean, it's like such a great price. We just wrapped it in foil and stuck it on the fire and cooked it that way, and then had some corn on the cob.
The corn, yeah, still in the husk. Just put those over the open flame. I tell you, that was some of the best corn I'd ever had. I didn't put butter or anything on it. Just unhusked it, if that's a word, and ate that corn. It was like, oh my, this roasted corn is amazing. Like, I ate the whole thing and was like, okay, I'm sold.
It was. And we had already cooked like bratwurst when we first got back, right from us hiking and everything, because we'd worked up an appetite where we were gone. So we had that while we were waiting for the other food to cook as well. And
now we were a little underprepared for the cold because it ended up getting about 30 degrees, maybe even a little colder. And it was very cold. I mean, you're talking, we were beanied up. We were, double jacketed.
When I look over at one point in the night, because we both had our sleeping bags, he has his jacket over his head. And then it wouldn't have been as bad, except we had to pee really bad. And we were like holding it. I didn't know he was holding it. But finally at like 6 a.m., I'm like, it's still completely dark outside. And I'm like, or it might have been 3 a.m., I don't know. I'm like, Randall, I gotta go pee. Well, remember, there's no bathroom. So I had got used to the fact of going potty out in the woods during the daytime, and then somewhat in the dark time where we had a fire and a lantern. But now it's complete darkness, and I have to go out into the woods to go pee. So I wanted him to be awake and just aware. And I look over, and he's like, his big old thick jacket is over his head, and then he had to pee too. So we both, like, when we both get up to go pee, then when we come back, I had this genius idea of us getting inside one sleeping bag and using the other one to like cover us so that we have extra warmth.
Yeah, and that worked a lot better. And it's like, why did we wait till 6 a.m. to figure this one out? I don't know.
But it was, man, when I woke up and decided that now is the time, I can't hold it anymore, and I looked up, the Big Dipper was like right above us. It was gorgeous. I mean, it made it worth the cold right there. So take some tips from that.
It was, besides it being so cold, which if we would have brought more blankets or something like that, we would have been perfectly fine. But I do say the stars at night were big and bright, deep in the heart of Texas. It was just the most beautiful stars. And that's something that, us living in a city, we don't get to see often. We miss. And that was it was so cool. We really did have a great time, a great experience.
It was, yeah, to be able to just unplug and be still. And yes, there were some learning curves in the midst of it, and we have a lot of supplies for future trips. But even the way home, we grabbed a map because we ended up signing up for the year membership so that
for Texas parks,
for that we could go to other Texas parks because we enjoyed it so much. And then we just spent the whole 5 hours on the way home just discussing the different places that we would want to go and the different perks of these different places in Texas, and coming up with a game plan and just dreaming and anticipating what the future holds. And so, I had to tell Randall, the way I think, I want us to go camping every other weekend, maybe at least once a month. And he's like, we'll have to see about that.
So yeah, it was fun. We can't wait to do more of that. We didn't know if primitive camping was going to be a thing for us, if we would actually enjoy that. First, we had to learn what it meant instead of what we thought it meant.
Yes.
Yeah, but we really did have fun. It was fun unplugging, fun kind of getting away from stuff and learning that less is more when you're doing that. Whenever you get out, it's really nice, being able to sit by a campfire and just not have your phone that you're glued to, but just enjoy your surroundings, enjoy each other.
Yeah.
It really was. It was a peaceful getaway that we had, and hiking and stuff as well. We had just a great time. We made some really awesome memories.
For sure. So we highly recommend giving primitive camping a try. I know we've talked about sort of like camping as a fun Friday, like camping in your backyard or glamping. Like, we've given you different ideas like that, but this one's specifically talking about primitive camping, which is tent camping on the ground,
away from vehicles.
Yeah, with your own fire, no electricity, no potties, and we really did enjoy it.
It was fun. We had a good time, and we'll do it again. And we know that you can even camp in the winter time here in Texas. So that may not be true in other places where you're getting like nailed with -degree weather. You may not want to then.
Wait a little bit longer.
Yeah, so it's definitely going to be seasonal depending on where you're at. But try it out. It really is fun. If you've never done it, go do it. Try it out and just see and create some memories. You may hate it, but you will come back with some amazing stories that you're laughing about later.
Yeah, I am so glad, because one of our options was to give up. Like, we gave it a try. We couldn't find the spot. We only had one more night after that. So, like, what's the point? Should we just stay in a hotel? But I'm glad that we stuck with it and went and tried to just see it and experience it. And because we did, which is that step family analogy, because we didn't give up and turn back and we just kept pushing forward, we were able to experience some incredible stuff. Had we not stuck it out, we wouldn't have.
Yeah, good stuff. It was fun. So try primitive camping. See if there's a site near you and go try it out and go make some memories. Make some memories with you and your family. We actually talked to our kids about doing this, and we have three of them that are on board.
3 said yes, one said no.
Heck no. So this will be something that we'll take some of our kids with sometimes, and we'll just go out and we'll have a good time. We'll have a good time tent camping and just enjoy it.
Yeah.
So yeah, tent camping. Go primitive camping and check it out. Have fun with that.
That's such a weird voice is that you do.
So listen, we love you guys. New idea, new fun. Go check it out, and we will see you next time. But when you do, hold it. When you do, message us and let us know how your experience went. We would love to hear.
Yes, for sure.
So now you can bye. Later.
Thanks for joining us today. We hope this episode has been a blessing and encouraged your family journey.
Make sure you stay connected with us and join our weekly Blended Family newsletter. We send an email out every Friday morning full of support and encouragement.
And when you join, we also want to give you a free gift. So go get yours today. The link is in the show notes below.
Have an amazing day. Remember to enjoy the journey with your blended family, and we'll see you on the next episode.